Ladies and gentlemen, I am Corione, your witch in residence here on YouTube. And thank you for the wait. I promise I will try to make it worthwhile. Because you see, we're finally going to finish off the Lord of the Rings movies with The Return of the King. Now, before I get too deep into The Return of the King, I just want to say thank you very much to my subscribers. Thank you so much to my channel members. And I would like you guys to please consider, if you have not yet joined the channel, to consider doing so. The perks will make it well worthwhile. We've already had our first poll, and because of that poll, I'm going to be recording a new video that's going to be for my channel members only, and it's going to focus the first week, or the first one of these videos, I should say, on religions of the world, and then we're going to intersplice that with a review of the series Incredible, because I think there's a lot there that we could talk about, and season 2 is coming, and I think it could be a lot of fun. Now, with all that out of the way, with that obligatory ritual done, let's dig into The Return of the King. Now, I feel like the number one theme we can take away from Return of the King, in at least the first 2 acts of it, are accepting responsibility for one's actions. Let's start with the simplest one, Aragorn. Aragorn has decided he didn't want to rule, that he wasn't ready to, that he didn't want to accept responsibility for really a large portion of humanity, and Middle-earth for that matter. So what did he do? He went off to the wilds and became a ranger. And when he needed help, he didn't go to his fellow humans for fear of them knowing who he was. Instead, he went to the elves, who wouldn't judge him because he didn't want to take responsibility. And eventually it took a catastrophe of truly mythological proportions for him to come back and realize that it was time to lead, because that's what he was born to do. That's what he should be doing. That's what is required of him for the ending to be positive, right? For humanity to be put back on the track to rebuild, to unite the different tribes of men, is for them to see Aragorn, son of Arathorn, back, having returned. But we also get the acknowledgement of responsibilities of some of the other characters, right? Merry and Pippin both accept their responsibility for all of what's going on. One of them offering their life to repay the debt that Boromir incurred, or he felt that he incurred with Boromir, right? The other determined to see this through because he was partially responsible for how this started, so he needed to be there to end it. So yes, he would fight. He would get on a horse, and even if he had to disobey the king's orders to do it, he would get out there and he would fight. This is what it means to take responsibility, because there is a difference between fault and responsibility. You cannot be at fault for things that happened, okay? Merry and Pippin are not at fault for what happened to Boromir, but they feel responsible for it. They feel that they owe the world and each other and themselves the opportunity to see this through, to see Boromir's legacy through, to help save his kingdom. So this is an important piece, right? And then, of course, we have Sam's responsibilities. He is responsible for Frodo's safety and well-being, right? Gandalf charged him with this. Don't you leave him, Samwise Gamgee. And he doesn't, does he? No, he sticks in with it. He sticks through it. He goes forward and does everything in his power to make sure Frodo can get through. And when he thinks Frodo is dead and buried and gone, what does he do? He carries on the mission, because it is not his fault that Frodo didn't listen to him and let, Smeagol walk him into a trap. But he is responsible for seeing the mission through as the last member of the fellowship to be with the ring. So we see everybody living up to their expectations. Even Frodo. Look, this poor kid, this cherub, has been beaten down at every opportunity. The ring's weight is killing him. Literally. The stab in his side from the ring wraiths is taking its toll. Right? Everything is working against him, but he is determined to see it through because it is his responsibility. He stood up at the Council of Elrond and said, I will take the ring. At that moment, he made the call. He made the decision that it was time to stand up and do what was right. And he saw it through. Now, at the end, did he fail in his responsibility? Yeah, he did. Right? Is that his fault? I would say no. I would say the ring is designed to prevent itself from dying. And it took control of him. And if it wasn't for a couple of very lucky coincidences, all the lands would have been covered in darkness. But they did everything that they could do to see it through. And I think this is an more important lesson than taking your responsibility even when it isn't your fault, or living up to the expectations of others because you're responsible to them. You can fail, you can lose, and still live up to your responsibilities. Okay? That is a hard thing to accept. Okay? There are things in this world, very hard, very difficult things, that you're not always going to be able to do. Okay? There are some terrible things in this world that take their toll on us. Okay? Injuries, things that set us back. And sometimes it's not going to be possible to live up to the responsibilities in front of you. But if you make the effort, if you show people you are willing to try, to push, to do what is difficult to do because it is the right thing to do, because you promised you would, that you promised you would hold that line. If you do that, then I guarantee you no one will hold you at fault. Not when they really think about it. So, with that in mind, I really want to talk about why that's important. Okay? As kids, we think we can do anything. Okay? We think we can do or say all the things and it'll just work out. Okay? Look, guys, it can't. It can't always. Okay? And yes, part of being a grown-up is taking responsibility, sometimes for things that aren't your fault. Sometimes for people that you didn't expect you would have to. But it's important you do it. And it's important you do it not just for others to see what kind of person you are, but for yourself. Because I promise you one day you're going to spend the time looking in the mirror. And I want you to like the person that you see looking back at you. I want you to look at that person and be able to say, I may not have always got the job done. I may not have been always able to pull everything off. But I did everything in my power to do so. I did my absolute level best. And there were unavoidable factors I was not aware of when I made the promise, when I made the agreement, when I agreed to stand up. But I did everything I could, everything I was capable of, and no one would hold me any more responsible than I already hold myself. That, I think, is the person that you want to be. It's the person I want to be. It's the person I've tried to be all these years. Okay? There are times where I've gotten into disagreements with other YouTubers. And I'll be honest with you, I try not to. Because one of my cardinal rules with this channel has always been to be professional. Okay? To treat this like a professional business and treat others with the respect and honor and dignity and grace they deserve. And do I do my level best to live up to that? I absolutely do. And there may come a time where someone pushes too far and I wind up saying things I regret. But that hasn't happened yet, and I'm going to do my best to make sure it doesn't. And if it does, I'm going to be man enough to apologize when I've screwed up. But so far, I've lived up to everything I've said I would, that I would treat others the way I am treated, and I would treat people with a level of professionalism unless given a reason to do otherwise. So that's what I'm doing. But let me ask you guys, what are you doing? Okay? What are you doing to live up to obligations that you have, to responsibilities you've got, even if they're not your fault? Okay? What is a thing that you can think of where you can say, I am responsible for XYZ. And even though I don't want to do it, even though it's going to be hard, even though it's going to be a challenge, I'm going to do it. Because that's what taking responsibility means. That's what being Aragorn means. That's what being Sam means, right? To a lesser extent, that's what Gimli and, and our friend elf Legolas are. They promise to see this through, and they do, okay? Gandalf promised to help as best he could. And even death didn't stop him from doing what he could to help. So I put it to you. What are you going to do? How are you going to stand up and take responsibility and do what needs to be done? Now, normally I say, hey, drop a line in the comments about what you're willing to do. And the reason why I say that is because, I want you guys to engage with each other. Because sometimes when stuff is hard, like really hard, it helps to get it off your chest and hear that others are going through the exact same thing. So I'm going to really encourage you guys this time. Put in the comments what you're going to do to take responsibility for that which you've done. Okay? And let's do that together. Let's choose to take responsibility. And if it gets hard, we're here. I have, I think, the best community on YouTube. You guys really are amazing. You're knowledgeable, you're clever, you think deeply, and more importantly, you are all kind, good people. And I know if somebody comes in and says, hey, I've got this problem, my sister needs a thing, and I don't have whatever to do it, there are people in the comments that are going to help. And they're going to help because it's the right thing to do. Because they feel as much responsibility to you as I do to you. Okay? We are all one community here. We may disagree on politics, on movies, on television, on religion, on, sports teams, whatever. That's fine. But we also all agree that we are all people, that we are all caring, that we all matter, and that we're all going to do absolutely everything we can to take care of each other because it's the right thing to do. Because at the end of the day, our number one responsibility is to each other. And I'm going to live up to that. And I hope you guys choose to as well. So, with that in mind, I'm going to leave that comment request to you guys. And I'm also going to say, merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.